Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing this August the 25th, 2025. And again, the assault on the United States dollar continues. Just breaking just a little while ago, an analyst reacts to Trump firing Fed Cook. U.S. President Donald Trump on Monday took unprecedented action of firing Lisa Cook, the first African-American woman to serve the Federal Reserve, over claims of mortgage borrowing and proprieties. The U.S. dollar softened. Trump removal of Cook following his relentless pressure on Fed Chair Jerome Powell that saw the Fed chair buckle last week during questions around the Fed independence and further ability to maintain monetary policy free from political influence. The move is another example of concerns over the Fed independence weighing on the dollar and its implications for political makeup of the FOMC. Going forward, we could see a more dovish leaning member that adds to rate cut prospects and a softer dollar look. And that's exactly what's going on. Trump wants rates cut. Trump wants rates as close to zero, if not at zero, as possible. He's currently targeting 1.50 or 1.5% when the current short-term interest rate is at 4 to 4.25, and that would cause the dollar to collapse. The dollar is already collapsing under Trump because he continues to want to promote quantitative easing, soft money, easy money, and lowering rates to near zero, and the dollar is tanking. Gold and silver are skyrocketing. Inflation is picking up. The Fed has also just went off its mandate of its 2%. It said it wanted to be at an average of 2%, and now they've just said, since they're going to, with inflation rising at about 3% now, that and it was running hotter than 2% for 5 years, where we had an accumulated gain under Joe Biden of a record 4-year president of like 28%. That means we would have to have deflation for a few years to get back onto the 2% track. He threw in the towel on that, said they're not looking to be on 2%. Because they know that was a farce to begin with. They were lying, like we've been telling you from the get-go. And this whole thing is coming unglued, and they're now even not pretending to even want to do that. They're sacrificing the dollar. The dollar is going to tank next year. The dollar is tanked. It's down about 14% this year. It's going to have a massive tank job next year as they do massive quantitative easing. Jerome Powell will be out of a job by the end of next year. And the crony and the new head criminal gangster that he puts in will be a puppet that'll do what he wants and go negative if Trump makes him or tells him to. And it's going to be an assault, an all-out assault on the dollar. Again, another politician, just like Clinton, just like Bush, just like Obama, just like Biden, just like Trump, just like the rest of them. They don't understand monetary and fiscal policy. They don't understand the importance of the dollar's strength. And they don't understand what happens and the negative consequences when they artificially manipulate interest rates and inject the money and inject the economy with fake money and created money, right? It's inflation. It's going to be a disaster. And that's why we here at Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing buy asset appreciating things under a chronic dollar depreciating and sacrificing world. Real estate, stocks, gold and silver bullion and mining stocks, cryptocurrencies, right? That's why we do that. You can see right now the Bitcoin price, though, was below this critical 3.5-year major support level, and it's below the 100-day moving average. And this is a critical spot now. And this is something that we were talking about earlier, because only a couple times in the last 3.5 years have you come and touched lower support. You can see we're going to actually have to go out into the daily time frame here. You can see this is how we got to where we are now. We were on this mountain double top from the COVID hysteria. Then we started this rising channel, and the first time we hit it, to confirm the first hit on lower support, was sitting back here in November of 2022, right? So over 3 years ago. And then we started riding along it, and then we worked our way all the way up to almost upper resistance in February of 23 and then collapsed, but hit this line beautifully to confirm this now as support. And immediately with the computer algorithm, and this is how the computer algorithm works, steady down to upper resistance, right about where you would say if it breaks that, it's going to capitulate to the downside, and then all of a sudden the buys trigger. And from March 11th of 23 all the way until, look how quick that was, March 11th to March 20th, we went from 19,700 all the way to $28,000, a massive move on the computer algorithm. And then it traded along upper resistance, traded back down. And then you can see the next time it hit lower support was August of 2023, where we had a little bit of a fake out, and then we came back up into it. And then we didn't hit it again all the way. We were in August of 23, and it took another full year to hit it again. And then we traded along it in August of 24. And then we didn't hit it again until about 6, 7, 8 months later in March of 25. We hit it, had a little fake out similar to the last two breakdowns, and then we pumped back up. But we didn't quite get all the way up to upper resistance this time in the step down fashion. We were trading along the bottom part of this upper resistance, and now again we're coming down to it. And like we were talking about, if this isn't just a fake out and this does actually want to do an actual breakout of this pattern, you'll come straight down to the 200-day, and then you'll slip that, and you'll end up at $97,000. If this is just a fake out of here, you could come down to the 200-day, trade sideways and up, and then get back into this. So this is going to be very critical for the Bitcoin price, because if it breaks down out of this rising channel, it actually confirms a market structural change for the first time in 3.5 years. Then we would have to really start to look at the 73,000 and the 57,000 again. But that's for a different discussion at a different time on a different day. But right now, you can see we're starting to get bearish. We're starting to get very bearish. And we're going to have to see if now this wouldn't be a classic time to have a nice pump back to the upside as we're threatening to break down. And if we do break down, 103,000 would be your immediate short-term target. The same thing with Ethereum. We've had a massive breakdown from the high, and right now this is going to come and touch the $4,050. That's probably another 6 or 8% from where the price is now. Yup, another 7.13%, but I'm almost 100% certain this is coming back to the 4,050 and change, and that's where you would more than likely see a bounce. Again, at least some kind of a bounce. But this time we would have to see what happens, because for any reason it slips that, you're looking at this major underneath support. First at the 50, but that's going to be at the $4,000 here in the next day or two. Then you would have to look at the 3,473 if for any reason you get below this megaphone neckline major support now at 4,050. XLM's the same thing. You had a technical breakdown, and it would slip the 50-day moving average. And now, like we told you, it's going to act like a magnet now. And I think you're going to come down to 36 cents here this week. And then I'm putting a watch in effect, an actual watch to come down and retest 31 cents in XLM. XRP, you can see we've given back that gain we made from last week, and we're sitting just above the 100-day moving average. And unfortunately in XRP, you could have a little bounce back here, but I think you're going to slip the 100-day moving average, and I think you're coming all the way back down to the $2.55 level. And I think it's going to be very interesting, and a lot of things are going to be going on, as we could have a manipulated tank job that's going to take place before the Fed chairman lowers rates next month, and then we have a massive pump job. Like the channel, subscribe, peace and love.